Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back into another YouTube video, and in today's video we're going to be doing another one of these DC MCU concepts, or replacing the MCU with the DCU. And in today's video, this is, I believe, like part 16 or 17. It's been a lot of parts actually. I'm not exactly sure which part it is, but I know it's been a lot. But yeah, in today's video we're replacing Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Suicide Squad 2. Now, the name for this movie, I'm gonna name it Suicide Squad Kill the Joker. I feel like that could be an interesting, or actually, Suicide Squad: The Laughing City. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's gonna be called Suicide Squad: The Laughing City. Now this is gonna take place right, I would say, about 3-ish months from the first one, just similar to the way Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 is. It takes place within a very short time span of each other. Uh, in this one, we're going to end up seeing the Suicide Squad basically essentially come back, as they are now tasked with fighting the Joker, who is going to be the main villain. Now, before anybody gets mad and is like, oh, Joker's not a villain to the Suicide Squad, why don't you put him as a villain to Batman? Honestly, I already kind of explained why I didn't do it for Batman. And also, I feel like this is a fresh take. And again, I'm trying to do something different than regular DC and stuff like that. Add my own twists and stuff. So yeah, essentially the villains will be villains slash anti-heroes will be facing off against the Joker, who has basically taken over a city. He's gassed a bunch of people, as well as he's now control of a huge militia. And essentially Amanda Waller sends in the Suicide Squad to basically take out the Joker. Now, you might be saying to yourself right now, like, how is this gonna work? Harley Quinn's like very tight with the Joker. Like, how does that make any sense? Like, why would she fight the Joker? And that's the whole point of the story. It's meant to question the moral abilities of these characters. No, before I get into everything, like the plot and stuff, let's get into the casting first. So I just want to point this out quickly. Captain Boomerang, he's not gonna be in it at all. He's not on the team right now. Same with Bloodsport. They both will not be in here. In terms of who's introduced, I introduced now Peacemaker. He's in here, as well as Killer Croc. Well, Killer Croc has already technically been in these movies before as like a minor villain, but now he's being introduced as one of the bigs of this team. And then returning members, Deadshot, he'll be in this movie. Harley Quinn, Ratcatcher 2, and King Shark. Those are characters returning, and they'll be voiced by their same counterparts in the actual DCEU, such as Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and such. And then in terms of who I've added as a funny kind of funny characters and stuff like that, we saw Weasel. He survived, so I'm gonna leave Weasel. I'm gonna let him come back, just for fun. Honestly, he's gonna come back. And then we're gonna get introduced to Condiment King, or Condiment Man, and Calendar Man. Calendar Man, I thought it would be pretty cool, and I actually put Michael Chiklis as Calendar Man. In terms of Condiment Man, I'm gonna put him unknown, and the Weasel will be, I guess, Sean Gunn. I guess can play him again. And plus, I plan to add like a few other characters, like maybe 2 or 3 more characters, but I couldn't really decide in terms of like unknowns and stuff. So I'm just gonna leave it up to whoever's directing the movie to put in a few unknowns, just for it to act up the movie and stuff like that. In terms of rating, this is gonna be hard R again. One of the darker films in this universe I'm setting up here. Yeah, lots of killing and stuff. Especially now, it's gonna be more so a lot more humans are killing and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot more violence. In terms of who's playing the Joker, I decided to go with still Jared Leto Joker. Now, I know you might say, oh, you're going to make the gangster Joker again from that Suicide Squad movie. And no, I will not be doing that. This one's more like the Zack Snyder-esque Joker. So he's more unstable. He doesn't have tattoos and such. So that's important to know. Um, so in storyline wise, we pick up base essentially after the last movie, with the Joker essentially with Harley Quinn picking up from the post credit scene. So that does happen, and we do by chance end up seeing that all go down. And then eventually we start seeing like Joker decides he doesn't really want to be around Harley anymore and kicks her away. Essentially back to prison. That goes on in like beyond this movie, essentially in between, like off screen, we see that happen. So yeah, essentially Harley Quinn is back in Bel Rev, and that is when the Suicide Squad is basically tasked with just stopping a bunch of low light criminals and stuff, and that's what they're doing. Sent on a mission essentially. Uh, yeah, so they are set on a mission essentially, and they all do decide to go on this certain mission, and it is there where they become better as a team. Essentially, just four members right now. It's Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Ratcatcher 2, and King Shark, and then eventually we get introduced to Peacemaker and Killer Croc. Get a bit of backstory for them and everything. Oh yeah, and Amanda Waller's also in this movie. I forgot to say it. She's played by the same person too. So then it's then we end up seeing it cuts to the Joker, who has now basically found a new kind of Joker gas of sorts in order to essentially control people. So that's what he's done. He's gone into a complete mayhem, done it all. But here's where it goes a little strange. At first, they don't know it's the Joker. They have no clue. They think it's just a common mist or something, some lab exploded or something like that. But it's actually truly the Joker. That would explain why Batman doesn't come. Batman's off doing his own thing, right? So, yeah, that insert the Suicide Squad, who are sent to just fight them off. And through this movie, we're gonna get questions of morality from these characters, and like essentially a lot of the characters will be questioning what they're doing here, literally because a lot of these people are controlled, and a lot of them are like very questionable people to be killing. For example, children and stuff like that. Like they don't want to do that, but they have to, and it's just a question of morality and stuff. So that's exactly what's gonna happen. In terms of like deaths and stuff, I'm pretty Condiment Man is gonna die, at least in a. I'm thinking at least in a funny way. Like this movie's gonna be funny, but at the same time, have a lot of questions of morality and stuff. So that's the one thing. If what they're doing is right and stuff like that, and like Deadshot's gonna get a lot of flashbacks, especially with his daughter and stuff like that. And then eventually it get revealed that the Joker's behind all this. That's when Harley's gonna be like, I don't want to do this. This is Joker. Like I like the Joker. He's cool and stuff. And then that's when the Suicide Squad band together as like a kind of like a family, and they're literally like, listen, Harley, like this is not good and stuff like that. We need to deal with this guy. He's no good and stuff like that. So then they all decide why not. But then Harley decides to ditch off, and that is when we see Amanda Waller about to literally kill Harley Quinn, when it is basically, next thing you know, we see the Joker bust into the lab where Amanda Waller is, kidnap everybody, and basically have control of the switches, but he can't open it because it's coded to Amanda Waller, so she decides not to open it. It says to all the characters, if they want to stay alive, free her, stop the Joker. So that's what they do. Then Harley's like, I don't want to do this, but then the Suicide Squad just gradually kind of helps them and stuff. But Harley's kind of distant and stuff, and then eventually she decides to basically kind of help them and stuff. So then that does happen with everything. Yeah, and then they all band together to essentially fight. I'm gonna say this right now. Just basically essentially Peacemaker, Deadshot, Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, Ratcatcher 2, King Shark, who are like essentially the survivors of sorts. Like these guys are the survivors. Everyone else is essentially dead in different ways. And they all band together and essentially just go and take on the Joker, who is essentially now just a man of sorts, but he commands a huge militia, so they all attack and stuff. And that's when we see how his ultimate plan is working, where he's basically essentially found some sort of device that was helping to control it, which we now see. And yeah, in order to stop it, then we end up seeing essentially Killer Croc literally take the machine that's making all this mist and stuff, which literally can't be broken for some reason. It's kind of indestructible. Then we see Killer Croc essentially sacrifice himself, and he ends up dying, and he destroys the mist, which then stops the mist. Which then essentially stops the mist, and then they're able to essentially stop the Joker, which actually Peacemaker is about to kill the Joker, but then Deadshot, after questions of morality and stuff like that, is like, he's more worth it alive and stuff like that. But when the Peacemaker almost shoots him, and is like, this is for peace, and he's like, he almost kills him, and that's when Deadshot literally, like, essentially tries to fight Peacemaker, who then tries to fight Deadshot, and then Deadshot literally just beats him up and is done with it. And then Peacemaker is essentially out cold, I guess, and that's when Deadshot is literally like, let's take this guy in. So then all the characters agree and they decide to do it. So in terms of, I just realized what I said there had a certain amount of plot holes in it, and I'm about to fix those plot holes. How are they breathing in the Joker's mist? First of all, Harley Quinn is immune to it. Ratcatcher 2 is wearing a mask. King Shark is immune to it. Killer Croc was immune to it. And then Deadshot was wearing a mask. So they're all essentially wearing masks to keep it over, except for the ones that kind of are immune to it. So they're essentially wearing a mask, but then they have certain things that can help them breathe for a certain amount of time in a certain enclosed room or something. So that's how we're going to get a lot more like those face scenes and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, continuing on here. In terms of the way the roles of the characters are, like Peacemaker is really gonna be kind of like villainous, similar to the way he was in the Suicide Squad, but he is gonna have a bit of heart and stuff. And in order, like, he's gonna be like the one that's like, come on guys, we gotta stop the Joker and stuff like that. Like, he's gonna be super hero-esque vibes from him, but at the same time he's pretty evil in this. Deadshot's gonna be like the moral leader. Killer Croc is like the muscle. So is King Shark. Ratcatcher 2 is like a friendly person on the team and stuff like that. Then Harley Quinn is like co-leader-ish. So yeah, that's how the team is gonna really roll. Yeah, anyways, so that's pretty much it for what we've seen. In terms of post-credit scene, we end up seeing it teases Darkseid again, as we're concluding a little bit more within Darkseid, and we see Batman talking to Amanda Waller, telling her about this whole Darkseid threat and how he's gonna come, and we're gonna need help from the Suicide Squad. So essentially, Batman's like kind of recruiting all these teams and stuff to come into the Justice League eventually. But anyways, that's pretty much it though. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Peace.